Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and today I'm reviewing Raising Robots from Navu Games. Raising Robots is a 1 to 6 player tableau building game which players are going to be building out these cute, adorable little robots across 8 rounds of play in order to be worth the points themselves, to generate points, and to fulfill class goals. This is a prototype, all rules and components subject to change, and I'll have a link to the crowdfunding campaign down below. Past that, like I said already, you're building out robots. This is a tableau building game where you're going to be choosing phases, activating those phases, and trying to build out the robots across 8 rounds of play. The primary ways you're going to be gaining points are with the robots themselves, who are worth a certain number of points there. By the way, the robots are also super adorable, as evidenced by, just some of the handful of cards I have over here. But all the robots have absolutely fantastic art, fantastic art in this game. So building robots is worth points, but also you have class cards. You're going to start the game with some, you can earn more as the game progresses, but class cards will give you points depending on how well you score in certain metrics as you go through the game. So trying to get class cards that fit what you're doing in the game going to be another large way you get points. And lastly, as you go through the game, you have the opportunity to earn points that you'll slowly be tracking across your resource row over there. The gameplay is going to be the gameplay itself is going to be across 8 rounds of play as you choose various phases to activate. The way that's going to work is you're going to have these energy cards. You're going to go ahead and take 2 energy cards and place them out. Each player is going to go ahead and do this. Let's put that so you can see over there. And at the halfway point of the game, you're going to reshuffle your energy cards. But then from there, once those energy cards are out, you're going to look at the phase cards and decide what you want to go ahead and activate. Play those phase cards in such a way that nobody can really see what's going on, and then everyone's going to go ahead and reveal their phase cards and then resolve accordingly. So for example, over here, I'm going to go ahead and add 2 cubes to the fabricate box because that card over here shows 2 cubes on top. Versus the upgrade box is saying that cubes in the upgrade box are worth 2 energy. So for example, let's pretend that other players had also played their cards and we had added 2 cubes to upgrade, a cube to design, and a cube to recycle. Or let's say another cube to fabricate over here. At this point, I would be taking an upgrade action at a strength of 2 plus 2 per cube for a total strength of 6 because of those cubes that someone else added. On the other hand, I'd be taking an assemble action at strength 0 because I did not play assemble, a design at strength 1 because there's 1 design cube there, fabricate at strength 7, 4 plus the 3 over there, and recycle at strength 0. Effectively, you always lock in and guarantee the phases that you play, but then how much you do other phases is going to depend on what other players added to those boxes, and potentially you can magnify what they added depending on what card you played. So trying to understand what other players are doing and what they're going for as you play will help give you a bit of an edge as you decide how to play your phases. Once the phases are played, you're going to go through those phases. Upgrading is where you're going to be upgrading your robots, assemble, you're going to build new robots, and design, fabricate, and recycle are going to be where you activate those lines of the robots you have in play. Starting with upgrade like I said already, I have a strength of 6. So over there, I'm going to go ahead and pay 1 energy. I start with 3, I'm going to go ahead and pay 1 energy so that I can go ahead and take an upgrade action at a larger strength and go ahead and going to move 1 upgrade and pay only 1 resource. I'm going to go ahead and pay duct tape, which is a wild resource, and I'm going to start by upgrading. You know what, I'm going to grab this one over here and upgrade, let's do fabricate. I'm going to grab this one off over here and upgrade that robot there. So I'm taking this marker off here, which is going to make the upgrade action stronger, and I'm placing it onto my robot, which is going to make the robot stronger. In general, upgrade actions are improving 2 sides of your tableau, your robots and the side over here at the same time. From there, we'll go to assemble, where assembling, you can pay energy to put robots in play. We're going to go ahead and look at our robots over here. You can pay that amount of energy depending on what the assemble strength was. So the more energy you spend, the less resources you need, but you have to have that action at a higher strength in order to do so. So that's how you're going to be putting robots into play, and you can spend it in whatever combination you want. If you have a strength, 5 assemble over here, you can go ahead and do, let's say, for example, let's say I have a strength 6 assemble, okay? I can go ahead and do a 5 over here. I don't know, let's look at my hand of cards. Let's pretend I do the 5 strength action over here and the 1 strength action over there, and that means I'm going to have to pay 3 gears, 3 of those red things and 2 of the green things. That's the resource names, are red things and green things, but effectively combining the energy I have available and the resources in order to place those robots into play, and possibly also spending extra resources. The more you spend into a single column, the more you have to pay a premium to have a stronger column in play. That's going to be the assemble phase, where you effectively pay energy and resources to build your robots. From there, you move to design, facilitate, and recycle, where you're going to go ahead and activate those. In my case, I'll activate design at strength 1, which means I'm going to get 1 of these resources. I'm going to pop that up to 1. Nothing else is unlocked, so I can't get anything else. Had this been revealed, I'd be able to take design at strength at a +1 energy. Had any of these been revealed, I'd get extra things as I took those actions. Because my design is only strength 1, because I only have this cube, and I'm not choosing to spend more energy, I simply take that 1 resource. Fabricate, on the other hand, Fabricate, I get to take it a strength 7, which is the maximum strength I can have, which means I'm going to go ahead and get a green resource over here, and I can choose either of those. I'm going to take a gear because I want to, and I'm going to take a point because I already have maximum strength there, which means I can take a point. And then over here, I can go ahead and take one of these. Now in this particular upgrade, this upgraded robot over here allows me to take the same things regardless of which tier I have, but if I upgrade, I can activate at a lower strength. In this case, that happens to not be necessary because I'm already doing it at maximum strength, but sometimes the upgrades give you more. Sometimes upgrading a robot gives you more stuff, other times it gives you a lower energy cost, other times it's both. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and take a green and a gear, upping those robots over here, and then recycle I did not get to take, unfortunately. That is round 1. So a typical round of play sees you guaranteeing at least 2 phases of the game that you're going to go through. Additionally, you'll go through anywhere between 0 to 3 additional phases depending on the cubes in play. I find generally between 0 and 2 is more common, depending on how many players and depending what players added to the boxes over here on the board. You're going to be using those to try to upgrade your tableau, to try to assemble more robots, and to try to activate the robots in the rows that you feel you have the strongest activation sequences in to build the robots, get resources, trade those in to build more robots, make sure you're trying to fit your class cards, and rinse and repeat that cycle across 8 rounds of play, and that is basically Raising Robots from Navu Games. That's basically everything going on there. A few other small details we didn't cover. I have an inventor over here. I have a little inventor card that's going to give me its own little abilities. There's a stack of inventor cards over here. They'll give you different abilities and different small little, possibly endgame bonuses, possibly in-game things. They'll give extra abilities you have access to. Past that, that's basically the game. Tableau building, building robots, trying to upgrade a tableau across 8 rounds of play, which brings us to my review. Starting off with ease of play. The rulebook is not the shortest, but it is pretty clear. It's pretty clear as far as what you're going through over here, and I'd say the actual economy of everything happening in the game is fairly familiar if you've played any modern board game design. It's basically tableau building, some degree of phase selection, and then the combination of that is just all about managing your resources in this pool, trying to figure out where to pay and what to pay things in. There's a little bit of confusion around the way the power of an action works and the energy economy and how you can boost that and or mitigate that to have different kinds of actions. Small amount of, just wrapping your head around how that works. But overall a fairly easy game to learn and to dive into. As far as playtime, it runs I'd say around 60 to 90 minutes. I don't know what the box says. Box says 75 minutes. I'd say that's around dead on. It's going to depend a bit on player count, despite the fact this is a 1 to 6 player game, because it's mostly simultaneous play and you can run your own engines as you go through it. It means that additional players doesn't add that much to the game time. As far as what I like, don't like, and conceal that's not liking, first of all and offhand, the art. This is one of those things where no matter what robot I show you, they're adorable in their own way, both with the names, with the character, with the charm they bring to the table. Every single one of these robots, this is like the best art I've seen in the game in a long time. Not necessarily the pure visual aesthetic on its own, but just the charm every single robot brings to the table and the unique kind of flavor they bring. You're going to find someone here you fall in love with in different ways. My son's and mine personal favorite is Firewall over here. Find him absolutely adorable, and he is on the cover, by the way, as well, so they chose well. That's Firewall right over there. But overall, the art and aesthetic of the game are just top-notch offhand. Past that, the tableau building in the game is rewarding as you go through it. Your first round of play, you finish it, and then as is typical with many of these tableau building games, you finish round 1 and you're like, I don't understand how I'm going to get anything done in this game. I had to struggle to get my hands on anything. I used the duct tape I started with. I'm down to 1 energy left. I don't know what's going to happen in this game. And you keep going through that cycle, but in round 2 you do a drop more. In round 3 you do a drop more. Until you get to the end of round 7 and 8, and you're having a whole lot more happening as you activate an entire row of robots with all their abilities, with a bunch of abilities cleared off. You choose to specialize and build out in a way that's going to have the best rewarding tableau as you go through it. But overall, it's a tableau building game with all the perks that comes with the idea that you get more done and how you build things out. Your first game versus your third game, you're going to get more done your third game as you figure out the small ways to just have a drop more efficient of an engine while also building out those charming robots and just having everything work in what you're doing. So it's tableau building and it has a strong sense of escalation around those rounds of play. It also works well at a variety of player counts because of the simultaneous play of things. Adding more players doesn't add significantly to the game. You're always going to be as fast as your slowest player, so it adds a drop to the game, but for the most part you can run through things fairly quickly. That first round you kind of want to run through things together so everyone understands what's happening, but after that players can kind of follow their own board, marching the person along the phases and taking the actions as they go. It's easy enough to follow through, and the different cards, the whole stack of cards gives you different ways to pursue that engine. Give you just a ton of cards at play with small little tweaks to what your economy is going to look like, what your resource engine is going to look like, what you're trading in for points, when you're generating resources to build more robots. There's a bunch of different ways to pursue the strategies that are available in this game because of this giant stack of cute little robots. As far as what I don't like in the game, the phase-based play can feel a bit lucky as you go through it. Yes, no matter what happens, you are being rewarded to a degree by having more cubes in the pot. But having more cubes in the pot, depending on how they factor into what you're being rewarded for, definitely has an effect on the game. And additionally, being able to, get those extra cubes that are worth 2 for you. If you have 3 cubes in a box that's worth 2 per cube, that's a huge amount of extra energy you can utilize towards building robots, to upgrading, to assembling. If you can call out how players are doing things, if you can predict what they're going to do, you'll get more resource economy in the game, which sometimes is about reading other players, and other times feels like it's a bit about the luck of the game. And so there is that balance there where there's these phases you're trying to play through, and you're trying to balance how it works out, but it can have a big impact just based on whether you did or didn't correctly call how other players are playing their phases in the game. And then also this game has a problem that I've had with a lot of other tableau building games, which is I don't particularly care for individual cards. I mean, past the art. The art aesthetic of the game, I love. But the mechanics of the game, I find that many of these cards come down to, okay, great, that's going to give me a battery, that's going to give me two points when I activate that. That's going to give me a gear, and there's a star. So these, don't get me wrong, a lot of these games like have these just resource generating cards, but I find that trying to look at a card and think, oh my gosh, I really like Merlin over here, because Merlin is that card that I'm always trying to hunt down. Again, the art and aesthetic, I adore these cards. But the actual mechanics, I'm just going to work with the hand that I have. There's going to be a small degree of, if you hand me a hand of 6 cards, I'm going to take 2 cards out that don't fit my engine, and the other 4 I'm just going to kind of make work. I don't have that strong degree of affinity of every single card matters, every single card I need, and every single card is going to make my engine come together and tie together. For the most part, I can work within the realms of what I need, as long as they fit the specific rows that I'm specializing in within the game system. As far as I can see others not liking, first of all, you can be broke very quickly in this game if you are not careful. Your engine in this game, your economy in this game, you are spending resources quickly to upgrade robots and to put robots into play. If you don't immediately and quickly get some sort of engine running in order to bring resources back or play the phases that will get you those resources, you can end up broke very quickly, wondering how you can get anything done. You need to think through those first few turns and get your engine moving, because otherwise the resources simply will not be there for you. Additionally, I'll say that the theme is loosely there. The game is mostly about cards and resources. You're throwing down cards. The theme of like working with robots, I guess it's present to a degree, but it's mostly just about gathering various cogs and gears from the various resource generation, and then just trading those in for more cards. The theme is loosely there, again, past the adorableness of absolutely everything. As far as final thoughts on Raising Robots, overall, there's 2 different sides of this game. There's the charm and the aesthetic, which to me is a straight up 5 out of 5. I think this is, again, amazing art, and art that I want to look at. Every time you hand me a hand of cards, I just want to look through every single robot in this hand and see what they are. I adore the art, I adore the aesthetic, but when you move to the mechanics are good, but I find that lack of being pulled in by any one card, by being pulled in by specific cards that work together, I find that to me this is mostly a kind of, you're given a hand of cards and you make it work within the tableau within the tableau goals and the phase selection of what this game is, which is not a bad thing. I just don't know. To me, the thing that makes Raising Robots stick out in a world of amazing tableau building games is the theme and the charm and the robots. The mechanics are solid, the mechanics are present, the mechanics are there, but the mechanics to me aren't next level. I like the upgrading. I like the ability to, upgrade your robots and your tableau at the same time and to specialize in a row of cards, but I would say that for the most part, these are things we've seen done before and done well, and Raising Robots does them well, make no mistake. But to me, this is a very, very good game that has an adorable and amazing and incredible theme pasted onto it that elevates it to the next level. To me, overall, this is a 4 out of 5. Mechanics and general gameplay itself, a 4 out of 5. I like it, I enjoy it, it does work for me, and I do recommend it. But for me, the thing that makes it stand out when you're comparing it to the world of tableau building games out there is the theme and the aesthetic on top of a very solidly designed mechanical game, which may sound poorly, but I guess it's a robot game. A very solidly designed mechanical robot game. As far as other game recommendations, first of all, Ares Expeditions. Terraforming Mars Ares Expeditions is a great tableau building game that will give you that same general degree of reward and phase selection together with a tableau building engine that is very, very rewarding in general. Additionally, this game very much feels like Wingspan. It does have those rows of cards, the building into the rows. It very much does have a Wingspan feel to the gameplay. And then past that, if you're looking for art and cuteness, this game does remind me to a degree of Best Treehouse Ever, with every single card having almost a world of imagination inside of it as you look at the art and aesthetic of the game. I hope you enjoyed this video, hope you found it helpful. I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and as always, I hope you have a good one.